Very, very heavy. Your limbs are of such a weight, they are pulling you to the ground. You cannot move. Your eyelids are being weighed down. You are feeling drowsy, very, very drowsy. And now, your limbs are floating, drifting, as you slowly sink down, 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 as if through water. Grace, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Good. Are you sleeping, Grace?
Yes.
Very good. When you awake, you will remember nothing of this. Now, Grace, I want you to go deeper. And deeper. And deeper. Now, Grace, please lift up your right arm. Your arm is an iron bar which no one can bend. Would anyone care to try? No one? All right. So be it. I'm using all of my force. Very good, Grace. You may lower your arm.
Her eyes are open.
Which is normal and of no import. In this condition, a subject may be able to discern many things even with their eyes fully closed. Shall we proceed?
She looks so odd.
It's to help with the concentration. The inner sight, you see, is keener when hidden from outward view. Well, Dr. Jordan, we may now travel safely into the past. What is it exactly that you wish for me to ask her?
Ask her about the Kinnear residence.
Which part of it? One must be specific.
The veranda.
The veranda. Grace, you are now on the veranda of the Kinnear home. What is it that you see?
I see flowers. Sunset. I'm so happy. I want to stay here.
Ask her to get up and walk into the house. Tell her to go towards the trapdoor in the hall, the one leading to the cellar.
Grace, go into the Kinnear home.
It's like there's a spirit in the room. I'm frightened. Open the drapes.
Not yet.
You must maintain your composure, I beg of you. This is not a seance. Shall we press on?
Ask her whether she had relations with James McDermott.
Grace, did you ever have relations with James McDermott?
Relations? What do you mean? Really, Doctor? You're such a hypocrite. You want to know if I kissed him, if I slept with him, if I was his paramour, is that it?
Yes.
Whether I did what you'd like to do with that little slut who's got hold of your hand. You'd like to know that, so I'll tell you. Yes. I would meet him outside in the yard. I'd press up against him I'd let him kiss me and touch me all over, Doctor, the same places you'd like to touch me, because I can always tell. I know what you're thinking when you sit in that stuffy sewing room with me. That was all, Doctor. That was all I'd let him do. I had him on a string. Mr. Kinnear as well. I had the two of them dancing to my tune.
Ask her why.
I would breathe like this. I would twist and twine. After that, he'd say he'd do anything. But why? Oh, Doctor. You're always asking why. Poking your nose in, and not only your nose. You're such a curious man, Doctor. Curiosity killed the cat, you know. You should watch out for that little mouse beside you and a little furry mouse hole, too.
This is an outrage. Lydia, come with me.
Modesty must take second place to the interests of science. Please remain seated.
But this is a spirit. This is a spirit that has taken hold of Grace. This is not science.
I must insist on quiet.
Ask her if she was in the cellar of Mr. Kinnear's house on Friday, the 28th of July, 1843.
Grace, the cellar. Picture the cellar. Go back in time, descend in space.
Yes. Along the hallway. Lift the trapdoor. Down the cellar stairs. Barrels, whiskey, vegetables, and boxes full of sand. There on the floor. Yes, I was in the cellar.
Ask her if Nancy was there.
Oh, yes, I saw her. So I can see you, Doctor. And I can hear you, too.
Was she alive? Was she still alive?
She was partly alive or partly dead. She needed to be put out of her misery.
Did you help strangle her?
It was my kerchief that strangled her. Such a pretty pattern it had on it. It was a shame to lose that kerchief. I'd had it such a long time, it was my mother's. I should have taken it off Nancy's neck, but James wouldn't let me have it, nor gold earrings neither. There was blood on it, but that would have washed out.
You killed her. I always thought so. Give me the handkerchief!
The kerchief killed her. Hands held it. She had to die. The wages of sin is death.
Grace, I thought better of you. All these years you've deceived us.
You've deceived yourselves. I am not Grace. Grace knew nothing about it. inside which flowed.
I've killed her.
Rock of ages cleft for me. Let me hide myself in thee.
You are not Grace. If you are not Grace, then who are you?
You must answer, I command it.
You can't command, you must guess.
The spirits speak through others in a trance, but sometimes they lie, you know.
I am not lying. I am beyond lying.
It may be James McDermott come to accuse Grace.
Not James, you old fraud.
Please, Mrs. Quinnell, this is no spirit. I believe that what we are witnessing right now is a purely natural phenomenon.
Nancy, then. The spirits are often rude. They call us names. Some cannot tolerate to be dead.
Not Nancy, you stupid fool. Nancy can't say a word. Not with her neck like that. Such a pretty neck once. But Nancy isn't angry anymore. She understands. Nancy is my friend. She wants to share things. Come, Doctor. You like riddles. You know the answer. I told you it was my kerchief. The one I gave to Grace. The one she kept with her after I... Oh, is the truth in her eye ever dawning that made me love Mary?
Not Mary Whitney.
I told James to do it. I was there all along.
There?
Here. Where I am now with Grace. I was so cold, lying on that floor. And I was alone. I needed to keep warm. But Grace doesn't know. She's never known. They almost hanged her. That would have been wrong. I only borrowed her clothing for a time.
Her clothing?
Her earthly shell. Her fleshly garment. She forgot to open the window, so I couldn't get out. But I wouldn't want to hurt her. You mustn't tell her.
Why?
You know why, Doctor. Do you want to see her back in the asylum? I liked it there at first. I could talk out loud. I could share things. But they didn't believe me. They wouldn't listen. I was not heard.
Grace, stop playing tricks.
I am not Grace.
Is that really you? Don't be afraid. Speak the truth.
You see, you're all the same. You won't listen. You don't believe me. You won't hear.
She's gone. You can always tell when they go back to their own realm. You can feel it in the air. It's the electricity.
Grace? Grace Marks, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Good. I'm going to bring you up now. Grace, you are now lighter than air. Nothing is weighing you down. As you float up, 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 out of the depths, you see the light above you as you break the surface of the present. When I snap my fingers, you will be fully awake.
I must have been asleep.
Do you remember anything? Anything of what has just happened to you?
No. I was asleep. But I must have been dreaming. I dreamt of my mother. Floating in the sea. She was at peace.
You may feel a little dizzy. Frequently the case. Mrs. Quinnell, you see that Grace is brought to a bedchamber wishing me to lie down. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm at a loss. I believe that these are two distinct personalities which both coexist within the same body and yet have different sets of memories altogether. They are, for all practical purposes, two entirely separate individuals, if you'll accept that is, that we are what we remember.
Perhaps.